Very good. We changed tack a little bit. We're now going to talk, and this is the last one before we get some coffee input, so strong. We're now going to talk a little bit about how AI is used in an active business, which is the Munich airport business. And Christina Dorn, who's the senior specialist in digital marketing and innovation, is going to talk about how digitalization at Munich airport is taking place. She comes to us with a background of really a lot of marketing and digital innovation, and she combines that with a track record of providing complex solutions. And she's got over 15 years in marketing and now over 8 years of aviation expertise. And it's interesting to see how a company like an airport, in their way, is transforming the passenger journey, enhancing the passenger journey through automation. So we look forward to hearing Christina Dorn, Specialist Digital Marketing Innovation from Munich Airport. Welcome.
So thank you very much. Hi. Thank you for sharing your time with me right before the first coffee break on a Sunday morning. I know it's difficult. And thank you for hearing me talk about our journey becoming an AI airport. Cheers to that punchline, right? So Bavaria indeed is a region of ambition. We are not fearful for coming trends and big technology. And like König Ludwig might have put it, go big or go home. But putting jokes aside, actually, Bavaria has kind of a big history in aviation. I want to mention, for example, Minna, who was a pioneer, a female pioneer in aviation, who took off with her hydrogen balloon from the Theresienwiese to celebrate the 10th Oktoberfest, actually. Coming to 1919, where the Bavarian Royal Air Corps installed the first military base in Oberwiesenfeld, where they also had some flight experiments. Coming to the first airport in 1939 in München-Riem. There also the first passenger jet landed, the Junkers U it was, from Lufthansa. And we developed from them, and technology always aligned our way. So what we can say is actually aviation, especially in our context, never stood still. The technology always made our way with us. And that is also reflected in numbers. Closing down München-Riem in 1993, we were processing 12 million passengers. Right now, in 2025, in Munich Airport in Heiberg-Moos, we operate 42 million passengers a year. That's not quite before COVID, but we're working on that. And the new technological leap, of course, is AI. This is why we're here today. And what comes to your mind if you hear AI? We heard a lot about that, but yes, I think somebody in the back mentioned it, robots. Everywhere are robots. And also, when you type in AI or artificial intelligence in WhatsApp, the first emoji that pops up is a robot. So yeah, actually, we also have some robots. We're coming to that later. But actually, the most technology we have at Munich Airport, especially in AI context, are rarely seen by the passenger or the client. So we put AI and especially new tech where it matters most, and not where the media coverage is broad and where the awareness is pretty tough. No, we have to focus on processes and to give solutions to current problems. Now you might wonder, how do we do that? And we have a trend radar. This is not an actual tool you can buy or we just developed on a technical base. Actually, we have 6 departments at Munich Airport who put their knowledge, their experience, and also current studies from the whole world into that thing of a kind of a strategical model. The strategic model helps us to detect disruptive trends that really have an impact on our industry, and we separate them into 3 phases. The first phase, like you here see, is the watch phase, and we watch pretty closely because we're in a surrounding of critical infrastructure. That might be the biggest difference to other industries that have been spoken until now, because we're acting in a surrounding of a border. We have very strict security controlling because we're an airport. So we watch pretty closely before we prepare on any technical innovation. And in the prepare phase, it's all about data. We collect data from other people, we collect data in our MVPs, we do our own proof of concepts, and try to validate our assumption, and we try to test in different surroundings. And only if these first 2 phases really give us certainty, then we start to act and implement new tech. And that can be years, to be honest. But we're kind of pretty honest about that. We don't want to be the first mover in that new technology because we're in a very secure surrounding. So we test pretty closely before we come into action. But that might not be the case while you're still sitting here hearing me talk. I think you want to have kind of an illusion or a vision on how the passenger journey might look like at Munich Airport or other airports. Because we compare each other within that trend model with the whole industry on a global level. So not only airports, but also other industries, especially in critical infrastructure. So I will share with you a short glimpse on the future customer journey. And please, to get me right, these are all trends and tech projects that are currently implemented or realized on a whole global basis. So this is not that only Munich Airport does all those projects. There's projects and trends that we actually have in our radar and that are implemented, watched, and prepared in different dimensions and different parts of the world. But we keep an eye on that. And within the color marking, like the green and the orange and the red, you see the different stages. The different stages are always on different development stages, and I just wanted to pick out some of you to make an example on how we work on AI and automated transportation, for example. I only have 3 slides for you because Munich Airport really did a hard task on me to put AI on charts, because I guess I would have to share some process charts with you, and that would be really, really boring after having a celebration of Carnival last evening. So I try my really best to give you an impression of a real-life passenger journey in the future and also how it is running right now. Because what we really want to do and what we are working on is that we improve the way from the passenger really directly with the first step out of his home when until he gets into the airplane. So there's a lot to do. And there's a lot to gather data and to make it better and improve its experience. So, for example, one thing we're currently working on, I think personalized ads is a no-brainer in our industry, especially in the marketing context. But this is also like giving relevant information for the passenger who arrives at Munich Airport, that he can find himself perfectly in his surrounding, getting next travel trips, what, for example, next train to go. And we also work pretty hard on that mobility as a service booking platform, where you currently can book, for example, your parking place. But we're working on having an app that actually visualizes the whole passenger journey from the doorstep. How long will you take to the train? How long will it take you to the airport? How long will you wait at the security check? And when does actually your aircraft arrive? Also, maybe you want to spend some time at duty-free. As soon as you passed the terminal, you get terminal access and you have the check-in. And oh boy, this is a playground for technological innovations and also AI. But we have the big brother, the data protection. So one thing we're really working on is that we kind of find go-arounds and workarounds, especially in data collection. It's like we have some digital twins, and we don't use really the data from the person, but we have data spots that we try to follow around at the airport. And we follow him like to improve seamless digital access, like that's a no-brainer, right? Also, biometric ID gates. Biometrics, of course, is on everybody's agenda. But we try also to gather those information until we get past the security check. And this is a very sensitive area, right? So as soon as he passed the security and baggage control, we actually have a kind of very great news. You might maybe see it in the media the next month, because we're working on an autonomous vehicle transporting cargo from the cargo area to the passenger and terminal area. Completely autonomous driving on a level 4, so that means it's completely unmanned, and he can have his own decisions. So that's pretty new to us, and there actually we're a first mover. But now we come to the robots. I think you all waited for the bots. Maybe you met Josie Pepper in 2018. Her followers are Jeeves. This is a snack bot running around at Terminal 2 and offering you snacks and water. But most important for us is also the cooperation with Lufthansa when we test the Autobot. And the two robots are pretty different. Jeeves has a human face and also has a smile and is quite that big. And the Autobot is more or less a bucket with wheels driving around the airport. It is touch-controlled, but it was very intelligent. You can also use it to find your way to the gate. You can ask questions. And if you really need it, you can also connect to the information desk of Lufthansa. So what is quite interesting about that is that the tests show, or studies show, that the interaction with a human-looking robot tend to be much more negative than with an actually technical-looking machine. So we have a very big difference, and we gather lots of data on how the frustration level is with intent depending with the robots looking like a human and not looking like a human. So as you see, we're deciding pretty closely where we put AI and technology and we're not, because we're not chasing hypes. We're proud of not being every time the first mover, because as we all learned also in the last speeches, the last days, we are in a very critical global political situation, and we especially are in a high security area. So every technological leap brings doubts and risks with us. I don't want to dive deeply into, for example, Air Canada case. They held liable for false information of their chatbot. That costed a little bit. And for example, Will Smith, who got a complete shitstorm because he had fake fans in his video. The video I show you here helps me to point out that, like David also mentioned it, I really like that face, it's all about the context. And when we develop technology, especially in our atmosphere, and especially in our surrounding of critical infrastructure, connecting people, then we really have to be aware on where we put it. Because here you see there is a guy in a wheelchair, and I put the volume down because he's swearing to death because he's so angry. And in front of him is a food delivery robot. So the person who orders food is happy that an autonomous vehicle comes to him bringing hot pizza. But the people who surround this technological innovation could be pretty annoyed about that. So Dr. Klaus Bengler from the Technical University in Munich really challenged us because we have that autonomous wheelchairs as well as a test ride currently in Terminal 2 with an ethical debate. Who did you design that technology for? Is it for your process optimization or is it really for the PRM? That's quite an interesting debate. We could debate about that pretty long, but what we should all be aware of, that we have a really big responsibility with that technology. Because once a technology is out, especially AI, you cannot be put back into the box, like Mustafa Süleyman put it in his book, The Coming Wave. And I see the AI trend really like a wave. I think the industry is not quite sure about surfing on it, swimming in it, barely keeping our heads above the waterline, or are we already drowning? I don't know. But what we can say for Munich Airport is that AI, for us, may guide the radar to the destination future. But the coordinates stay defined by our passengers and clients who set the coordinates for us because they are the people who put their trust in us. And that's the most important thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Christina. Very insightful, and I think a lesson to us all about how to go about planning in your own company. Where are the stress points? I did see you had one of the points there was stress detection.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was detection of stress in the systems or the stress of the passengers
Both.
going through the terminal. Yeah, because there is some stress involved in travel still, and so it's good that you can detect it. But I think it's a lesson to us all to how to plan, and I really appreciate it. I will not take your time now because we are going to a coffee break, and then people can ask Christina questions. But we truly appreciate to see the way that you're coordinating this way for Munich Airport in a way that we can learn to apply to our own businesses. Thanks very much, Christina.
Thank you. Thank you very much.